this section, all through here becomes... I mean, we'll talk about it during the deleted scene section on your DVD, but this was all the subject of a vast reshoot. And what happened was, we watched this film with a test audience and Sherry Lansing and the production executives of Paramount on the Paramount lot, a recruited screening, where people, an audience is brought in and give their reactions. So we're watching the movie with the test audience, and the audience was really with us through most, right? I mean, they were with us through the whole picture. Laughed at the right parts, gasped at the right parts. Everyone applauded when the Enterprise crashed, when the saucer section crashed. I mean, it was really like we had them. Then the Nexus came, and they kind of quieted down, but we still hadn't lost them. Here, when Kirk dies in the original version, there was this utter silence in the audience. And it wasn't that kind of like stunned, you know, on the edge of your seat silence. There was just this sort of apathetic, we'd lost them. And we all knew it. Movie ended, polite applause, and then Brannon and I and Rick and the production executives all went back to Sherry Lansing's office. And before she even got the test results back, because they did like a quick and dirty test result, like right on the spot, Sherry sat down and she just looked at us and she said, okay, well, you have a great movie, but you have a bad ending. So we're going to give you some more money and go out and reshoot the ending. And she was just, boom, just like that. I mean, she knew. She was smart enough and intuitive enough that she knew that instantly. And the test results came in, you know, maybe an hour later and proved her exactly right.
It is astonishing to me that we even ever thought that original ending would fly.
Yeah, the original ending was, again, in concept, it sounded good. I think that what happened in the original ending, and we'll see it in the supplemental material, was that Kirk knocks out Soren, he gets the remote control, and he helps Picard save the day. And then, Soren wakes up, but Kirk doesn't see him, and Soren shoots him in the back, and he dies.
Hey! Picard! Soren. Oh. Oh. '24th century isn't so tough.
I think what attracted us, and I know me specifically, what attracted me to that version of the death of Captain Kirk was the irony of it. Here's a man who's done all these amazing things, big heroic adventures, saved the day countless times, and in the end, he shot in the back.
I think there might have been a John Wayne movie.
There was. I mean, John Wayne is shot in the back at the end of Sands of Iwo Jima. Yeah. He goes through World War II and, you know, the invasion of Iwo Jima with his platoon and his buddies, and he's up on the hill and they're enjoying the fine, you know, we did it. And then there's this off-camera bang.
Well, Conway, see you made it.
Yeah, I guess that little voice was wrong. I feel better.
I feel a lot better, too. Matter of fact, I never felt so good in my life. I want a cigarette.
And he's just shot in the back and he slumps over, and it's powerful. And I think that's what we were trying to do in the original ending of
Absolutely
Kirk.
didn't work.
Didn't work. I think we were
I'm not blaming anyone, but
I think at the
myself.
Time, I think at the time we were so concerned about not doing what was expected. It's expected that he'll die on the bridge of the ship. It's expected that Kirk will get on the Enterprise and save the day and then die heroically. I think we were so concerned about not doing what was expected that we overcorrected and went to something that ultimately wasn't quite as satisfying. Paramount now is like deserted. It's like empty. It's the middle of the night, and we're walking back to Rick's office desperately trying to figure out what we're going to do. How we're going to get a second shot at killing Kirk, but it has to take place in this same scene It has to take place on the same set. We'll rebuild this whole lattice work and the bridge and all this kind of stuff. It has to fit within the movie. It can only cost whatever they were going to give us, however many $1 million to do it. It has to be done in like the next 3 weeks.
The studio very correctly decided to reshoot the ending. And I have a sweatshirt somewhere that has a John Eaves drawing on it, which is called The Return to the Valley of Fire. We had to build a 65-foot long bridge that had to collapse, and it had to be safe, and it had to be helicoptered into the Nevada desert, all of which was done in a very short period of time, about 3 weeks.
And action!
During the course of the filming, the bridge is blown up at one end by Soren, and Kirk is caught on the edge of the bridge, and the controller that he has to catch slides down this broken span, and of course Kirk catches it at the last moment, is able to decloak, and then Patrick Stewart is able to get to the firing mechanism and change the rocket so that it doesn't go into the planet and create the Nexus phenomenon. So all of that was the second ending that I think added a great deal to the excitement of the ending. Certainly was less cowardly on the part of Soren to have shot Kirk in the back.
24th century isn't so tough.
Kirk indeed is killed then in a more heroic way, where he is found in the wreckage of the blown up bridge. I personally crawled in and was Kirk's understudy for that sequence, making sure that David Carson, the director, had Kirk's face and body in the right location inside the wreckage, and I climbed out and Bill climbed in. It was a good thing that we did. It was a better ending, and it made a stronger picture.
I remember when we wrote the first draft of the movie, we were in, I think we had taken a month off and just went away.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in a hotel room, and
We were in Hawaii.
And we were writing the death of Kirk, and I think the "It was fun" line was always in the script.
Yeah.
But it just kind of got moved and changed around, and I remember it was a touching moment.
Yeah, I remember it. You were at the computer and I was on the couch, and we were talking, because that's what was our method. Was one of us, we would trade, but somebody would type and somebody would talk, and you were typing and I was talking, and we got to this beat, and it was fun, and Kirk dies, and I was really moved. I cried. It was really like, oh my God, I've killed a childhood hero, and what are the implications of that?
They make a difference.
And Bill wanted Kirk's final line to be, "Oh my." He says, "Oh my," and it was because he sees something.
Yeah.
It was Bill's idea was he sees something, and what is it that Kirk sees?
Is he back in the Nexus?
Is he? Yeah. What is it? Is it the next life? He sees something and says, "Oh my." We wanted his last line to be, "It was fun," which was a comment not just on this adventure, but on Star Trek.
Yeah, I didn't like "Oh my" at all.
Oh my. I thought at the moment of death, Kirk would look up and see death, whatever it is, approaching, and face death the way he had faced all those aliens, which was a mixture of awe and wonderment. And so I added the word, "Oh yeah," and died. And it never sold. It didn't register. They weren't close enough. They never had the moment. I thought that's a good moment. Whoa, no, there's a good moment. There's a truthful, honest, philosophical moment as an actor. Never saw it. It was like there but not there. And so that's what happened.
Moment of silence here. I don't know, that's just kind of, it's like he went to hell or something.
Yeah, it's like,
not,
oh my,
it's not even a wasn't oh my. It's just like, oh my, I'm terrified. I'm dying.
I'm dying. Which I guess is human. I mean, it's a human reaction.
Oh my.
Your catchphrase isn't even from Star Trek.
No, it's from a shock jock named Howard Stern.
Yeah.
The receptionist came, ushered me into the studio. I walked in, and there's this tall, wild-haired, horn-rimmed glass guy. And I said, good morning. And he says, you have a deep voice. A voice like that must have a big dong below. I asked, are we on the air? And he said, yep. And I said, oh my. And he had it on tape. And so whether I'm there on the show or not, when someone says something or does something outrageous, he presses a button and my voice comes on. Oh my. And it's become my signature.
Oh my. Oh my.
Oh my. Son of a bitch. He stole my line.
I think about the fans of Star Trek, the original series, and I don't know that there's anything we could have done to make everybody happy with the death of Kirk.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's just, as you say, one of those icons that there's going to be someone who's just pissed that you killed him at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
My phone rang, and some voice on the phone said, "Look outside your window." And my house, and I looked outside. They hung up, and my house had been toilet papered. It must have been someone I knew, or not. I don't know, but it was a good toilet paper job, and it was right around time. And we got some, Ron Moore and I got some death threats on the phone, I think.
Was this for Generations?
This was around the time, this was during the first couple weeks of the release of Generations, that people were upset about Kirk. I still get asked about that.
I find it so strange because people talk about the fact that I or we were responsible for killing Kirk and how could we have done that? And it was such a logical thing. I mean, we sat down to write this movie, and at the story stage of the movie, and the feeling was the studio didn't want us to have any of the original series people in it at all. It was a Next Generation movie. And we thought, we should pay homage to these guys. We should somehow pass the torch. And, well, how the hell do you do that when you've got, Kirk's been dead for... Kirk is I don't know if he's ever mentioned in Next Generation. Is he mentioned?
No, I don't think so. I think you guys were pretty cognizant to kind of keep them separate, those shows.
So,
until, Scotty would make an appearance, but no, I don't think so.
Kirk was obviously dead by the time we got to Generations. And our thought was, what if we bring him back to life and have him die again, but in a way that's going to save Earth or save a planet or whatever? We were resurrecting him by creating this whole ribbon idea and then having him die at the end.
It's actually you bring up a point I've never considered, which is that he was already dead. It's like it's actually a great point. We didn't kill Kirk. Kirk died. We resurrected him and killed and took him out of a temporal anomaly.
We resurrected him and let him give his life towards saving the entire inhabitants of a planet.
Yeah.
And we were accused of killing Kirk.
Yeah, it's actually not true. I've never thought about it that way before.
Let's talk about killing off Captain Kirk, because that's what this movie is known for, and that was not a stipulation that you were presented with.
No, it was. I think I would probably be the prime mover behind that. I was really interested in the idea of writing the final chapter of Kirk's life. There was something as a writer, especially as a young writer, you're drawn to death scenes. You're drawn to what's the end of something. In the same way you're drawn to what's the beginning of something. And the death of one of the great heroes was really appealing on just a literary, angle. And so I was really intrigued with that. And there was obviously deeper personal things for me that I don't even really understand. Kirk was my personal hero as a child growing up. It was I consciously wanted to emulate myself on for many, many years, and was just this big figure in my life, and I wanted to write his final chapter and kill him somehow. I was very driven towards that, and it seemed like it matched into everything else that we were trying to do in the movie, because it was about passing the torch from one generation to another. We had decided we were going to destroy the Enterprise. It all just kind of felt of a piece, all these deaths and all these things. And to kill the big hero at the end of it felt like that was like a proper element to go into that film.
We've been saying this is the end so many times that we've cried wolf. But in this case, since there is an absolute ending for Kirk, that it would be safe to say that this is the ending.
James T. Kirk was dead. Alone in the darkness by the gravesite, Spock had found a rock to sit on. He was 143 standard years old, advanced middle age for a Vulcan in good health. Spock drew an emergency light from his belt and made his way down the slope to Kirk's grave. He played the light against the cairn. The rocks had fallen in. The grave was empty. Spock looked to the stars. It was not at all logical, but for a moment a most improbable thought came to him. Perhaps some journeys were never meant to end. There were always possibilities.